What's up, guys? Welcome to a composition episode. So I'm sure you guys have all heard at some point or another somebody telling you when it comes to wildlife images, you got to get low. You got to get as close to that water as possible. You got to get as close to the ground as possible. Dude, you got to lay down. You got to put some effort into this. Getting low is the only way to get the shot. This is what pros know and beginners don't, that kind of stuff. So I just want to throw some food for thought out there on this subject. I was running one of the last of my winter bosque workshops, and we were shooting the cranes in the water and stuff. And somebody asked me, like, how come I wasn't getting low? Like, there was opportunity where we were to get like really low with the cranes. And so I showed them why. And I figured that if they probably didn't know, or if they were interested in it, that there's probably some of y'all out there who might be interested in this too. So let's take a look at some of these images. But before that, I do want to preface this with like the whole getting low mentality. The whole thing behind it is we're really talking about getting eye level with things, with wildlife. And in this case, when someone says get low, they're talking about either that's something that's on the ground, or usually they're talking about birds that are in the water. So waterfowl, ducks, shorebirds, anything like that that's either on the water or really close to the water. I think waterfowl and shorebirds are probably some of the most commonly photographed birds. They're also plausibly some of the more like relatively available birds that most people could have access to and like attempt to photograph. So for this, we are just going to be concerning ourselves with mostly shorebirds and waterfowl and ducks and that kind of thing. So here's a few of my examples where I think getting low has been really awesome and definitely tends to give maybe more of a wow factor. All of these images I really think came out quite well. Obviously there's a lot of other things that go into making a good image, like good light, good subject matter, action, all these type of things. But the angle definitely helps. And I think all of these do a really good job at showcasing how getting low really does emphasize the subject and put a little wow factor into your image. So let's take a look at a couple of images where getting low is like maybe the opposite of what you might want to do to get a better shot. And I'm going to kind of go over a few of my recent images and kind of critique them for you so that you can see like what's in my headspace for how I'm thinking about composition when I'm doing wildlife. So it started with this image right here. We were out and we were taking pictures of this scene, and I had, workshop participant was like laying down taking photos. And that's when he asked me like, hey, how come you're not laying down? And so I had to show him that like when we laid down, this head right here was above this horizon. And so this is a silhouette sunset shot. I'm really going for colors and I'm going for that striking silhouette. And if I lay down, then I'm ruining the profile of my silhouette and that bird. So that means I had to stand up as much as I could and get it. And this is just barely, like, there's not enough room there for me to really be happy. But overall, I mean, I still think the image is all right. But this is one great example. So here's another one. This crane is on the ice, and that's really cool. And if I would have gotten low, I could have gotten maybe more of the ice. But you can see, like, I'm already kind of at eye level because the cranes are bigger birds. Now, this is definitely a concept that you might want to think about more with taller birds, cranes, egrets, herons, those kind of big shorebirds that are sticking up. That's more when you got to think about this stuff, because if it's more of a vertical subject, you're going to have that potential for breaking that horizon. So if I would have laid down again, then this wing right here would have been above this and potentially even above this grass line here. And that's just not something I wanted. So breaking the horizon is one reason. Another reason you might want to not go so low and go a little bit higher is for something like a reflection. So here's one. I don't think I edited this. I think this is like more of a raw file because there's a lot going on here. However, like you can see this stuff right here. So this is the shoreline, like right above where I cropped it off. And you can see there's a bunch of cranes standing up there, and I'm just getting their reflection in. So if I could have, I would have gone to my camera left and I would have put this head right in here. But I don't think situationally, I don't think I was able to go more to my left where I was to get that shot. So I made the best of it. If I were to edit this, I would probably clean out these bird reflections here and just make it a little cleaner. I'm also not too thrilled on some of this foreground stuff. So this wasn't an image that actually turned out great. But had I gotten lower and had this crane up here and having his head break the pond horizon line there and then be jumbled in with all those other cranes, it would have looked even worse. So here's one, same deal. This is the raw image. I haven't done anything to this. If I would have gotten lower, I had the chance to get quite a bit lower, probably 2 to 3 feet lower more. But you can see how dark it was back here. This is the horizon line. This is some just yuckies in the pond. So I wanted it nice and clean. And then for an edit, all I did was just crop it. So I haven't even messed with saturation. I haven't done anything to this. This is completely raw out of camera, except for the crop that I just applied. And that is, to me, is looking really, that's about as clean of a silhouette as I could probably get. I could definitely wish for a smoother wind conditions with the water being a little bit smoother. But other than that, like the color gradient from the yellows to the cools, the perfect silhouette, has little rumple feathers. This really does it for me. And if I would have gotten lower, I would have ruined that. I wouldn't have been able to get a shot anywhere like this. Same thing with this one here. So I've just cropped into it to where there's some cranes that were standing up here and there's the shoreline that was up here, and I've just cropped that out. If I would have gotten lower, I wouldn't have got that same angle, and I wouldn't have got all the blue water and then the nice cleanness in the background. So here's a good example of what I didn't want. I think I edited this for another video like a long time ago or something, but point in case, we've got this nice beautiful snow goose here, and his white head and the background is just being broken by this stuff. Here's another good example of that. When I was lower, there was a bunch of snow geese up here, and then there was the lake line and everything. But by standing up and getting this at height and pointing down a little bit, I'm able to get this really nice, clean, minimalist look, and there was a ton of light coming in. So I think this shot came out pretty cool, and it's another shot I wouldn't have been able to get had I been laying down at water level. All right, well, that's it for this one. Just wanted to give you guys that quick tip to think about composition. I know that wildlife is definitely one of the hardest things to deal with, like anything where you're dealing with action and movement and unpredictable subjects. You don't always get the luxury of choosing your composition and stuff like that. But I think that the more you're aware of this kind of stuff, the better you'll be for the situations when you can control it. But also, like, you'll start to get this like sense of automation where you'll see that kind of thing and you'll just automatically be moving to deal with it, whether it's up or down. If you know you need to go lower or you know you need to go higher, it'll kind of happen a little more automatically and a little faster. And that kind of thing, that kind of bodily automation can really help when you're positioning yourself and you're just getting ready. It's also just food for thought if you're thinking about when you're editing your images and stuff, like how I was cropping down to crop some of the horizon out, to get the cleaner water look, the cleaner background look and all that kind of thing. The editing can go a really long way to helping you understand what you need to do in the field for the next time around. So definitely just studying your images like that is a huge help. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Definitely throw me a comment, give me a like, subscribe if you haven't already. All that stuff makes a huge difference. It really helps out the channel. I've got channel memberships and Patreon memberships now. I've got a Patreon going on, and we're gonna be doing like monthly image critiques and all that kind of stuff. So if you have images that you want to submit and have me take a look at them and edit them, plus extra content, all kinds of good stuff over there on Patreon. That kind of stuff just makes a massive difference for this channel's operation and keeping me and Camera Lighting going. And we just really, really appreciate all the support. All right, it's chai time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.